live on LinkedIn, live on YouTube, live in the Spiceworks community. Last laps, lads. Final frenzy, friends. We are turning the corner on a checkered flag to the road to Spiceworld. I'm Jeff Gretler, head brand ambassador at Spiceworks, and we are in the shadow of the AT&T Hotel and Conference Center. We're in exactly 4 sleeps till Spiceworld! I can't believe it's actually here. This is our season finale for our show, which is actually the kickoff, the main event to the big show, November 11th through 13th. That's next week. So we are ready. Are you ready? Are you ready? Welcome to our friends on LinkedIn. You are live too. Welcome to our friends of the community. You are live too. YouTube, we are live. We are live everywhere. So that means I can't do this by myself. So let's get this show. So we got a packed show today. We got surprise guests out the yin yang. So we're going to bring our first one in right now. Let's get those wheels rolling for a PowerShell powerhouse known as Sean Wheeler.
Hey,
Sean, what's up, pal? How you doing, man?
Good. Getting excited for Spiceworld. Putting together my finishing touches on everything. So.
I love it. I see a little bit of a blue hue in the background, so I know you're working at your labs there.
Yep.
To get things going. So, man, well, I appreciate you coming on here because you're a big part of the big show, right? We got you, especially on that day one, right? We got some workshops that you got cooking up, so you're ready to get people to add a lot of utilities to their utility belt.
Yeah. So. Stephen Judd and I are doing a workshop about PowerShell tool making. And so it's geared towards folks that are already doing some PowerShell scripting, but we take you to the next level, turn those scripts and one-liners into tools that you can share with other people.
All right, that's perfect. So Sean, and I know, again, being... I remember setting up those rooms and getting all the power strips and getting all the tables, and I just felt like I felt like somebody that was like working in like the F1 dock, just like getting all these cars ready for people to just like take off. So, but Sean, let's just get a little bit into you for some of the viewers out there who don't know you. So just do like an intro of yourself, but more likely just also. What kind of let's hear your origin story, the Sean Wheeler origin story of how you got into IT to begin with.
Yeah, well, my story starts way back in 1978 in junior high when I first got exposed to computers and learned basic programming from a book without even having a computer. And I fell in love with it back then. That led on to college where I got a degree in computer science at University of North Texas and eventually went to work for Microsoft where I've been here for 27 years. And I write the documentation for PowerShell. That's
awesome. I mean, to think, like you said, to start digging into this in 1978 is like no small feat. Like you said, it's not like you had all of this stuff at our disposal like we do right now, right? Like you were really like bleeding edge, digging into books, but like how did you even get to test some of the stuff back then, right?
Whenever I got a chance to get my hands on a keyboard, I would type in programs that I had written on paper and try to make them work. I eventually got my first computer. I put a link in the private chat to my blog site. Shows a picture of the computer. It was a kit. It had 256 bytes of RAM.
Bytes. No, there's no letter in front of that. That's a B.
Right. And you had to enter all of the program in hexadecimal on a hexadecimal keyboard. So.
Wow, that is impressive. We did our show a few months back, we had like our Museum of IT, and we were talking a little bit about that. And I think that 70s that had the, the Intellivision gaming system had the IntelliVoice, but it also had an Intellivision computer that was like a module that you plugged into. And really all you had was a disk and a number pad. And I remember my uncle, who was working in tech at the time for Grumman, and he was sitting there trying to do like all this programming stuff. And I'm like, can you hurry up? I want to play. I want to play a game. And he's like, well, I'm trying to see if this, and that was my first foray into watching somebody doing like these if and statements coming up. So I feel that of just like, it's impressive that you're, one of the people basically leading the charge on basically what runs the world right now. I know Beyonce say what runs the world's girls, but no, we know it's tech. What are you talking about? It's tech. But, and again, for your first big session, that day one, that's, like you said, it's going to be a pretty big deep dive. Is there any kind of sneak peek or spoilers for anybody who haven't bought their tickets yet and they happen to be watching this? Is there a sneak peek you can give of what you have in store at that workshop?
Yeah, so the morning session is James Petty, and he's covering the basics of PowerShell, getting people started, and this sort of dovetails with that. We take that the next step further. So most people that use PowerShell regularly probably are doing like one-liners on the command line.
Right.
And we're going to show you how to turn that one-liner into like a function or a script, and then add all these bells and whistles to it so you can do pipeline input, and you can get tab completion for your parameters, and add in help so users can know how to use it, and turn it into a tool that other people can use, not just you.
Right.
And then show you how to actually publish that to a gallery like the PowerShell gallery or an internal private tool gallery that you want to host.
Sorry there, and yeah, the chat's trying to summon you by hitting F1. So I think you've already been summoned. But yeah, no, I love that. When we talked to James, a few weeks back about this, and I know this very familiar with my career. There's always been that balance of just like, I can spend these hours trying to figure out a task to make these tasks done in seconds, and then the next level of that is, like you said, take these tasks and give them to somebody else who they also execute this quicker and make yourself more efficient. But there's always that balance because, I could just do it and it'll just be done. So the benefit of going to your workshop, your deep, and coupling it with James' workshop is we're going to save you hours and hours of research, right? You're just going to get a shout out to one of my favorite movies, UHF, is like, you're going to get the fire hose. You're going to get a fire hose of PowerShell right to the face.
And with Stephen Judd, probably a fire hose of dad jokes too.
Yeah, I mean, that's what that also makes the world go around, tech and dad jokes. And we're warning you, like, when you eat a lot of carrots, you might turn a little orange. Are they going to walk out a little blue?
Black and blue.
Black and blue. I was going to say an Arrested Development joke, but I won't say that. I don't want to say hi to LinkedIn there. So, but so for some of the people, and I guess this might be a two-part because we're going to have a lot of newbies at Spiceworld, and also we're going to have a lot of wily veterans. For both of these groups, what do you want to be the biggest takeaway from attending your sessions?
Well, my message is always learn PowerShell. It's a tool set that you can add to your resume, to your list of skills that can differentiate you from other candidates when you're looking for a job. And the more you can automate your life, the more you can spend time learning new things and bringing impact to the work you do. I also have a breakout session where I'm going to cover the basics of Git and GitHub, and that's another skill that everyone should learn, especially if you're going to be doing more PowerShell coding. You need to do version control, source control of your work, and that's one of the easier ways to share your work with others and get collaboration from others.
Oh, yeah, there he is. Sorry, Sean, you did warn us too that, you're not AI. It's just, yeah, he's having some internet issues, but you're back.
Okay. Did you hear everything? Or
Yeah, I think we lost you at the last statement, so I think we're caught up. But I do want to ask you about this because, again, there's so much going on that kind of slipped my mind. Can you give a little bit of spoiler of what you're going to be talking about in the GitHub session as well?
Yeah, so I'll cover the basics of what GitHub is and kind of how it works. For a lot of people, GitHub is just magic, and if they've ever tried to use it, somebody's probably just told them, run these commands in this order and everything will be fine, but they don't understand what's happening. I'm going to help demystify that and show you some best practices about how to collaborate with a project in GitHub.
Okay. Yeah, that's good because that is another one of the topics that I think could be very intimidating to a lot of technology professionals and getting in there. So being able to have, that's another one that to add that to your tool belt that is just going to be really, really helpful for career advancement. Because again, we know Spiceworld is, the most kick-ass tech conference, and it's fun, but we are infotainment. And thank you for bringing in the info to that tainment as far as like a session with you alone can cost justify the trip to Spiceworld for sure. For any of your technology pros out there, sitting with someone like Sean and the experience he's bringing to the table, you would be crazy for your boss to say no. You can just figure out that stuff online. And let's just talk a little. I know we only got a few more minutes with you, Sean, but let's just talk a little bit about that. I come from back when I was getting my certs back in the graybeard days. There's just something different about learning this stuff in person, right? With like a boot camp or work session versus just like learning it like pacing yourself online. And I've done both. I've done the reading those thick Cisco books and just like, I'm going to study for 4 hours. That was before kids and dogs and house payments and all that. There's just something about, compared to watching a movie at home, you're going to have all these distractions versus going to a movie theater where the lights are going to be out and you're going to have no distractions at all. You're going to be able to focus on the movie. I feel like that is the huge benefit of going to your session, right? You're going to have no distractions, turn off your notifications, roll up your sleeves and dig in.
Right. Yeah. And in my background for several years, I was a trainer for Microsoft. I taught internal workshops, and I also taught workshops for customers. And I would travel all over the world doing this, week-long workshops. And that's the way I always like to learn. The other thing that I found doing this is I learned technical skills best when I had to teach it to somebody else. So I really had a passion for teaching others and figuring out how to communicate that. And it helped me understand it even better.
Yeah. No, and I totally appreciate that. I think we do in these workshops, we create a hive mind too, right? It's just like there's something that like something might not work in your home lab and you're sitting there and testing that. But now when you have like you at your disposal and everybody else at your disposal, like you really are going to get better at it. Like you're going to walk out of here, not only from you, but some of your peers of stuff that you're going to learn that you wouldn't have learned alone in the cone of silence of your training at home. Sean, and I'm sorry, I did not, I'm going to ask a question live because that's just what I do. Yeah. Kind of get into your history of like how you got into Microsoft, right? Because, especially like back in the day, right? That was kind of like the North Star, like the 90s IT guys like me. It's just like, I got to get my MCSE. Nick Burns, SNL, got to get my MCSE and get out of here. Like, how did you get into your career path with Microsoft?
That's a funny story because
I like those.
I never wanted to work for Microsoft when the opportunity came up.
No?
No. I was I was working, the company I was working for had moved me from Dallas to Chicago. And a friend of mine that I'd worked with at a previous company called me up and said, Microsoft's hiring in Las Colinas. I know the hiring manager and you need to talk to them. And I didn't want to do it, whatever. He twisted my arm and I took a phone call with the manager. He told me about the job and he said, well, I'd like you to talk to one of our technical folks. I did that. And the next thing I know, they're offering to fly me to Dallas for an interview. And I had a job offer the same day. They were building out the support center in Las Colinas, and they need people with networking experience like I had. I did a lot of Novell back in the day.
Oh, yeah. Shout out to Novell.
It was telephone support job. I thought, why would I ever want to do that? But they were willing to move me back from Chicago. I said, well, why not? I can do this for 3-4 years. And here I am almost 30 years later.
That's so awesome. But I think most of us out there appreciate it. I think it's not as prevalent as it used to be, but again, 90s, there's so many accidental IT professionals, right? Almost our community was based on like, well, that wasn't the plan, but I was really good with this stuff. And next thing you know, like you're running the shop.
And for me, my degree was in computer science, basically software engineering. But my career has been IT, not really software engineering.
Right.
I've done a little bit of programming. I do a whole lot of scripting, but it's mostly been focused on this, IT support, troubleshooting, automation, all that kind of stuff. And I found once I got into Microsoft, I could do whatever I wanted. There were so many different opportunities. I changed jobs and roles so many times internally, learned so much, and moved up and on.
And I don't think that's having that background of software engineering and kind of development probably actually strengthened your whole coding experience too, right? Of having that understanding of just like, not just the chips, but I understand the salsa as well. I mean, that's always been somewhat of a superpower, right?
Yeah. Well, and I'll flip that in reverse. Having spent so much time supporting customers and understanding their problems, that really helps me with writing the documentation that I do and helping the product team design their products to make them more usable. So I do a lot with the PowerShell team. I'm not actually part of the PowerShell team, but they treat me like a member of the team, and I help them with design decisions, and I occasionally contribute code, and it's just a real collaborative work environment.
And that's good because you need the sounding board of like, does this make sense? Or
Right.
else your documentation is going to look like IKEA. It's just like, that's not me. I don't look like that guy. And that tool's too small. Like, who did this? Why is this? This is not working. So thank goodness for YouTube in those instances. So, but Sean, okay. Thank you so much. Is there any last words you want to give before we get to see each other next week?
Yeah, one more session. I'm closing out Thursday with a session on AI Shell, which gives you an AI chat experience in PowerShell. So,
oh, that sounds good. What time is that one at? I want to see if I
3:15 on Thursday.
All right.
It's last session.
All right,
before all of the fun.
maybe we can see if I can pop into that, or I will catch the recording because I definitely want to see that one because that is interesting. All right, Sean. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for coming by, and we will see you next week.
Yep.
So, all right. So next up, we have a little bit of a surprise here. So I put in a request, or Jason Heiner, our EIC, put in a request with our keynote speaker. So we do have an official welcome message from Dr. Helen Papagiannis. Check it out right now.
Hi, everyone. I'm Helen Papagiannis. I've heard so many wonderful things about the Spiceworks community, and I can't wait to experience Spiceworld in person with all of you next week. I've been working with immersive and emerging technologies.
We're back. All right. Sorry, we had a little tech glitch. That's how you know we're doing it live. This is not AI. I'll pinch myself. This is real. So, all right. We're going to try it again with Dr. Helen Papagiannis.
Years focused on human-centered design. I grew up entranced by technology. Hi, everyone. I'm Helen Papagiannis. I've heard so many wonderful things about the Spiceworks community, and I can't wait to experience Spiceworld in person with all of you next week. I've been working with immersive and emerging technologies for over 20 years, focused on human-centered design. I grew up entranced by technology. My favorite thing to do growing up was playing Sierra adventure games like King's Quest on our family's IBM PS2. I also loved the sound of dial-up and being on BBSs and the sense of community that technology enabled. In my keynote next week, we're going to be looking at how immersion and interaction and intelligence is now moving past the screen and into our physical surroundings, and what that means for the future of human experience. There may even be a game that we play, but there are no spoilers here. I can't wait to see you next week.
Thank you, Dr. Helen. That is going to be fantastic. She has a great session. I was already started reading into her book, The Augmented Human, because that's just like, even just that title alone pulls you in. And I am curious about what game she's going to play, because we know Spiceworld, we do love our games. So, all right, our final surprise guest. So we just figured we can't have the season finale without actually bringing on Spiceworld legends, people that actually have put this show together for you every year. And we're coming up, this is going to be the 18th time that we're running this back. So we thought, what better way to celebrate the season finale to bring in two of those rock stars. So please welcome to the stage Dana Moberly and Heather Niemeyer. Yay! What's up, girls? How are you? Good to see you, as always. We are ready. We are here. I mean,
so glad to be here. Honored and privileged.
And it's just so exciting because just seeing both of your faces always just screams like Spiceworld for us, because we have so many great memories together, whether we're scrambling at the show and I see Heather with, talking to somebody in the person and has something in her ear and she's running together, or Dana, some of those sessions that we used to do together where we were picking the sessions for the sessions. And I'm like, this is a session by itself. Yep. So thank you guys so much for being on here today. So Heather, I'm going to start with you. So, we had Glenn on here not too long ago, and he had the honor and privilege of being to every single Spiceworld. But the little known fun fact is you have helped plan and attend every single Spiceworld.
That's correct. I'm probably really dating myself there, aging myself, I should say. But yes, I planned all 18 Spice Worlds now. It's such an honor.
That is just so wild to think. So you went from Alamo Drafthouse, AT&T, ACC, back to AT&T. You've seen all the acronyms going. What can you tell? Is there any insight that you can bring us back into, like, the planning? Jen's going to be our closing keynote speaker, so she spoke a little about this. But from you, is there anything you remember from the planning of that very first show back in 2008?
Oh, definitely. I actually can remember that year really clearly. When I met Jen, it was 2007, and she came to the company I was working with at the time with this idea of an untech tech conference. So something that was really fun and different and interesting. She called it the garage band of tech conferences, which also felt really Austin, right? Like, we're in Austin, let's do something different. Let's think outside the box. And create something just really cool and interesting that people really wanted to attend. And this was very early on in my event career. but we got creative, and instead of a hotel ballroom, we did the Alamo Draft House, which, even Alamo at the time was like, wait, what? You want to do a tech conference here and use our theaters and our, entry lobby? And it was definitely, it was scrappy. It was all hands on deck. I remember having to, fight for things like, hey, we need to put linens on the sponsor tables. Like, we really should nicen it up for the sponsors. But it was great. And, I'm so excited that Jen's one of our keynote speakers and closing the show this year, because her passion for really creating a strong community and an event where people felt heard and comfortable and like they were with their friends, that to me still lives on today. And that's part
100%.
of, we try to honor that in every year of planning. And I have one other thing about 2008. Yeah. I actually have the original t-shirt, you guys. Doesn't fit, or I would wear it. But this was our original t-shirt.
Wow.
And look at that.
That's incredible. Oh, wow.
The words. But on here, this is this speaks to it. So it says pizza, Austin, beer, training, popcorn, movies, hands-on, Texas, practical info. So this is where it started. There you go.
That is great. Thank you. I had no idea you were going to even show that too. And I marked out, as they say in wrestling, I get very giddy seeing that, wow. Because I do feel like, that was a very different time, to see, like you said, we've all done, Dana, you feel this, we feel this, almost like a responsibility, like the person passing the torch to make sure that we always keep that vibe. And Dana, I know you and I have gone through it, whether it's, taping our knuckles up or crying or whatever, is like, this has to happen. Like, this isn't really optional.
100%. Yep.
So, Dana, going to that, this is a kind of a run back to you, and we're so happy that you're back to make sure that Spiceworld keeps that going. What's that constant, how do we, I know how you and I have talked about it, but what do we do to keep that constant theme going of Spiceworld for you, especially, taking a break, doing other conferences, and now coming back to this conference? What's the constant that you see with Spiceworld that you want to keep going?
I mean, kind of in thinking about what makes Spiceworld so special, it really is community. You've heard that mentioned. Everybody on here said community at least once, even Helen. So I think that community piece is so important. But the way that we make sure that carries on is taking new people who maybe don't get it quite yet and ushering them through to feel it and to understand it. And I've been able to do that this year with some of the new people on the teams. And when they get it and that light bulb happens and they understand why Spiceworld is so important, and then they carry that forward.
Yeah.
So that's the key. That's the essence.
Yeah, and we've always talked about that aha moment, right? When we hire somebody before Spiceworld, and we're like, don't worry, once you're at Spiceworld, you're going to have it, right? And it's just like, I'll date myself, but that Blues Brothers moment when I see the light, where the light just shines, the orange light shines on him, and you want to just okay, I get it. Because again, it's community and it's passion. Jen was literally texting me 20 minutes ago, and she's like, I know you guys probably have a plan for this with some, the airline travel, but just so you know, I'm looking at train schedules, and I'm like, okay.
Oh my God.
I would just I don't want her to have to take a train to do this, but knowing Jen, she will just be talking to the, on the train with the conductor, saying, what are some of the highs of this? What are some of the lows of this, of a train experience? So, but yeah. But let's pull the curtain back a little bit, and Heather, we'll start with you. Is there what's your top behind the scenes memory, you just shared with that shirt? Do you have one of those moments that always sticks with you, oh goodness, I remember this?
There's lots of them, right? I remember when we were at AT&T Center the last year and really realizing, hey guys, we have to shift how we plan this, logistically. There is a shift that is changing here, and moving to the convention center really opened up a whole nother side of Spiceworld, with that, size increase and space increase. But kind of a funny one that I remember from our 10-year anniversary. We did a lot of extra add-ons. Like the 10-year was pretty special. The expo floor, we had some really cool sponsor build-outs. We had some fun photo ops. But at the end of the show, we did confetti cannons in the general session room, which, mind you, the convention center was very opposed to, and because of the mess. And we were told, hey, you're going to be charged a cleanup fee. You can do it. We understand this is your anniversary, but you're going to be charged a cleanup fee. So we're like, okay, that's fine. We'll budget for it. It's not a big deal. Well, we got some pretty powerful confetti cannons, and it went everywhere, to the point of we had pieces of confetti in the lights that got stuck up above in the general session room. It took them, I mean, several days. They had to get a lift in there and have people literally pull the confetti out of the lights. So needless to say, our cleaning fee went up quite a bit. But I will remember standing in the back of the room, and the audience didn't know that was about to happen, and they went off, and it was such a moment. It was so cool. It was worth all the cleaning.
I was just going to say, I remember that, and worth it. Because we've done a lot of crazy confettis. We've had, marching bands going through. We've had cars. We've had buses driving in through there. But Dana, what's one big one that stands out for you?
Oh, I mean, to Heather's, I was curious to see if we would have the same one. We didn't. But I would say probably the one that stands out, because honestly, I think I blocked like a lot of it out, like some of those things out. But I think the one that got me the most is, you would normally see our planning team, like all of the team who's kind of like putting on the logistics with the radios in our ears. And those radios are such a key part to like the event, really, because we're all talking to each other, making sure everything's going well. We tease each other sometimes on those radios, or say random things, which have always been like a fun thing, being on site. But I'll never forget getting the call on the radio that there was a fire outside of the convention center and in one of the trash cans. And I ran out there, and sure enough, a trash can all ablaze. Somebody probably threw a cigarette in there or something, and, just having to like react, but keep people calm and, keep things moving. And that's just like a perfect example of Spiceworld. It's just like, keep things moving, keep people calm, keep people safe. Let's move on. So yeah,
that's amazing. I do remember the teasing on the radios, because I was like, giving IT a radio, one day they're going to take this away from us, because everybody would take turns like, oh, give me the radio, I want to say this. Like,
and the truth is, could we do it without radios now? Probably. We could probably do it without radios. We could do it, just texting each other. But like the radios add such a fun element for everybody involved. So.
Yeah. And yeah, exactly. And I think, also with our streams like that, I think there's an element that our community kind of expects when we're doing it live. You're going to get like something weird. That's almost like part of the fun. Like people get so like, as we know, I don't really use scripts, and I remember Jay saying, it's like, you sure you don't want a script? I'm like, no, I don't want a script. Still, please don't make it. And we had Kevin Mitnick, the year he was there, and Todd, shout out to Todd Doroka. He was always very nervous, like before these shows. And it was me, and I was just like, just walking around like human Spice Rex. I was like, oh, there's Kevin Mitnick. I'm going to go up there. And he had like all his hacker gear and tech stuff. And Scott's like, Jeff, don't go up there. And it's just like, and I'm like, what? I was like, and I thought something happened. And then like, he's like pulling me, and I'm like, no, I want to go talk to him. It's just like, but I just remember that's just like the whole live aspect. I'm like, oh, it's fine. What's the worst thing happen? Everybody's going to get a good laugh. And then just remember that Kevin was very protective of like his stack and everything he was doing, every work. And Todd was pretty much grabbing me by my ankle. Do not go on that stage and talk to him right now. But that's the fun part of just we're doing it live.
There's always things like that. I mean, Dana, your radio comment made me remember. Do you guys remember when there were pigeons walking around on the show floor and we were trying to get rid of them?
Yeah,
Like it was like a pair of pigeons that were just. Somebody's like, there are pigeons on the expo floor. We're like, what? Okay, let's chase them out.
Like, how does this stuff really happen? And I know we talked about this for the 1 year that we shared the convention center with the Orange Theory people with the very similar colors. So you had like them trying to come eat our food because, you know, they were not eating the good stuff. And we were over there trying to see like, what are they doing over there? So it was the strangest crossover event of just like, wait, which orange are you? Are you Spiceworks or are you Orange Theory?
and they had like a gala event, didn't they? Or some sort of like
they did. Yeah, it was a gala one. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And they had like some of the workout stuff on the floor. Like there were people, so people were coming out of there sweaty too. It's just like, what is happening right now? Like that's not part of our show, I swear.
But they did want our food.
They did 100% wanted our food because yes, we always have way better food. So for both of you, you've both worked on multiple conferences, like not Spiceworld. Like what's the difference when it comes into planning something like Spiceworld versus planning other events?
I mean, from a planning perspective, you know, I think we try really hard, you know, we've all said it, to think about the community of attendees that will be there and really trying to make it feel both accommodating and welcoming. It shouldn't feel highbrow. It should feel like, again, you're walking into the office and just hanging out with some of your peers that you spend all this time with. It should be easy. It should be fun. It should be educational. So, you know, I think that's a little different. Sometimes, you know, when we work with clients, there's just so focused on making everything hot, like big and bold and, you know, things that might make some people uncomfortable, where we try to make people feel at home at Spiceworld.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Dana, you have anything to add on that?
Boy, that's tough. That's tough to add on to. But, you know, just to kind of echo that, it really is starting with the people. And, you know, I think we've always, Jen instilled that from the get-go, at least in me and I know others, but just, you know, really, you know, taking a step back and making sure that we're meeting people where they are. So that's so important, you know, let the egos down. Let's let people come together, have a great time, learn some things, connect. Those are the key pieces. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I love that because, you know, I've got to go to a lot more conferences than I have this year. And Spiceworld, in a way, has kind of spoiled me. I'll go up to these booths and I'm like, why are you guys doing that? It's like, what are you doing there? Like, you know, you should try it this way. And it gets to the point where a lot of their stuff almost starts to like bleed over and they don't stand out. And then I realized, and I remember talking to him, was like, this is going to be great, but I'm not going to remember you like at all. Like there's nothing about this because it doesn't feel personal. Like you're saying, Heather, like something about Spiceworld. These are your friends. When we say community, we always say it, right? It's the Spice workers, it's our tech vendor friends, and it's the IT pros. That's the community in there. So when you go up there, you feel like you know these people, right? It's just like, I saw Katie posted something, you know, from Unit back in the Unit, shout out to the old Unit Trends Day. And she shouted out Jen, you know, because Jen put full circle moment. I'm going to be speaking at that. And Katie's like, I wish I can go. I was like, people would love to see you to come back on there because she was another one that just always got it. And you just realize every year there's going to be, they're part of the show. That's the best part is like everybody is part of the show, not just Slava. Everybody's part of the show. That's just in case he is watching.
I think you're right, Jeff. Like, I think Spiceworld has spoiled a lot of us. And that goes for like the Spice workers, the attendees, you know, people have left Spiceworks, you know, over the years, and they still have this special place in their heart for Spiceworld. Like we still can chat about it over LinkedIn or, you know, over text because the memories of working Spiceworld and experiencing Spiceworld are things like you don't forget. It's special.
It really is. And there may be some alumni floating around. Spoiler alert, with Jen lurking, there might be some other people lurking that are sending some text like, hey, can I pop in at the show? I'm like, okay. So that's going to be fun. Yes. So for the last thing here, just like we know, like I said, this is 18. We're really on the march to 20 years of Spiceworld, which kind of just blows my mind. And Dana, we'll start with you and then we'll go to you, Heather. How would you like to see the show evolve? Like, how do we evolve now, Spiceworld? Like you said, I know we have to get like the new generation of techs in there and stuff, but like what is one thing that you think that we can use to evolve Spiceworld?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I mean, I just think that so tech evolves, our experiences evolve, our lives evolve. I think it's important to be open to certain changes. So I think one of the things that Spiceworld, we've really held tight to a lot of different things. And sometimes, kind of shaking off the things and trying new things, shaking off some of the older things revives and brings new life and draws new people in, frankly. So yeah. I think being open to maybe new formats or new kind of content, that all can help Spiceworld evolve for sure.
I love that. Yeah, and you're 100% right. In the conference based on an industry that's constantly evolving, we might have to have the show evolve. But Heather, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, kind of playing off of that same idea, I think it's really key for us to focus on promoting to kind of up and coming IT techs. So we did some reach outs this year specifically to students and faculty members to start getting kind of some new young attendees who are coming in kind of in a different place than maybe some of the attendees that have either been at Spiceworld before or who are attending with us the first time this year. So, I think making sure that we're providing a well-rounded mix of attendees, both in age range and education, all of that helps the community because, again, we're coming together to share stories and learn together. So, yeah, I'd like to see us continue to focus on, what's the next generation of Spiceworld IT pros that we want to see at this event.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I kind of took some of that ownership, even though it was kind of felt strange to me. But, this happened at the Rippling event and then it kind of led into it. My son's friend who I used to take to kindergarten in school is going to Spiceworld this year. And I'm so confused by that because I was like, of course, and he goes to Texas State and he's sharing it with his other. I was like, yeah, bring your friends. And I'm like, wait a minute, but there's going to be, drinks that adult beverages there. And he's like, I'm 21, Jeff. And I'm like, oh crap, what are you doing to me, man? I completely forgot that it's just like the same kid that used to be scared of my Halloween decorations and would carpool is now going to be at Spiceworld because it is that next generation of learning and networking coming at a very different time now where a lot of, a generation that's a little bit more introverted, a little bit more into their devices. And Jen's going to talk about this, that it's still important for you to actually interact in person with other human beings when it comes to your career. So I think we have a little bit of a challenge for that generation, but I think it's very, very doable. And plus, Dana and Heather, they've always asked me, I know for a few years we talked about, can Jeff zip line onto the stage? And I know we did the measurements and we did it. So if we had an evolve, like if we ever happen to go to another city or something, it's like, I'm open to skydiving onto the stage or zip lining. So just throwing that out there to the planning team. Just I know the legal team's probably really nervous right now and insurance I might have just spiked our insurance. Don't let them do that. I do remember getting yelled at for almost breaking the stage. When Todd was saying, can you drop an elbow on that? And I was like, don't do that anymore. Please don't do that ever again. So, but Dana, Heather, thank you so much for coming on here and just coming down here and just going down memory lane, and we get to do it all again next week in a few days.
Can't wait.
Yes. So
Excited to see everybody.
Yes, we are excited to see you, but stick around. So don't jump off now. We just have, so we were going to show a little teaser. As we know, Spiceworld, you associate the Spiceworld opening movie, right? So we were working hard on to bring back that spirit of that old Spiceworld movie. There's some special effects that are still being worked on, but we just thought, okay, let's just at least show a screenshot of what we're working on. So if this will be in the vein of, if you did watch War of the Worlds with Ice Cube, it was a very infamous movie over the summer where everything kind of took place in the camera right here. So this was Spice Rex dancing on vacation via Face Spice. There's going to be a lot of Spice chat. Face Spice. It's going to be very frantic, but it's going to be very cool. We're looking forward to you guys seeing this live on the stage. And if you're not going to be at the event, hit me up. I'll give you a code, but we'll also be showing this movie after the event as well. So yeah, we're very excited for you guys to see this. But yeah, I think that's a wrap for us here. The Road to Spiceworld season finale is over. We'll start a new Road to Spiceworld next year. But for now, how about we just have Spiceworld? So we will see you in exactly 4 sleeps. But until then, don't forget to tech yourself before you wreck yourself. And we'll see you at Spiceworld.